We're gonna shoot this ceiling, do some knockdown texture. It's gonna be super noisy, but you'll get an idea of how you can spray evenly. This ceiling isn't that large. Normally we'd use a tech sprayer, bigger unit. You can use just these cheap hopper guns. I'll show you how. So the mix is ready. I'm gonna start shooting. Like I said, it's gonna be noisy, but then after the ceiling is shot, then I'll jump up and start knocking it down. So have fun. So as you can see, it is a messy job. Texturing is, it's not hard. It's a little...
Gets up in your hair and in your nose and everywhere.
Yeah, it's a mess. The biggest thing with texturing is everything is very much time sensitive. So once you get the texture on, it has to set up. It doesn't take long, you know, depending on the temperature of the house, the humidity and all of that.
It doesn't take long for the texture to set up to the point where you've got to knock it down. What I'm going to try to do is cut the angle down, which will make sanding a lot easier. So, we put some mud on the angle, wipe it down, which will get the texture off of the wall, because we want smooth walls. But I probably won't be able to do the whole room before I have to stop and start knocking down. So once that happens, I'll test it. Actually, it's ready now. So I'm going to have to start knocking down now.
What size knife are you using?
I'm using a 6 right now. I'm going to get out of this tight area. And then I'll jump down and use a larger knife. Now if you've got a ceiling that has a lot of rolls in it, sometimes you can't use the large knockdown knives because it'll kind of cut into the ceiling. The edges of your knife will. This ceiling is pretty flat, so it should be all right. Some of it's ready, others of it is a little wet still.
How do you know if it's ready?
Believe it or not, the sound, when you can just hear that's a little soft still. So maybe I do have a little bit of time to cut my angle down. This makes sanding so much easier. And any professional will tell you the less sanding, the better. I might have to get some thicker mud.
And somebody comes before to clean the walls up.
Yeah, ideally texturing is like a 3-man job. That's when it's kind of ideal. You have somebody just scraping down the walls, someone cutting in, and then you'll have a man that's just ready to knock down. And then of course you've got your, one of those guys will be spraying. Usually your knockdown guy is also the sprayer. See, hear that? That's
Kind of hard, sounds kind of hard.
It is, but it's still knocked down the tops. So this ceiling is ready. So I'm going to desist on working the angles, and I'll start knocking down.
Do you use the same knife?
Now I'm going to use a larger knife, a knockdown blade.
My favorite is what's called a magic trowel. It's a rubber. Looks like a squeegee. Oh, but I couldn't find one, and I don't know where mine is. So
Can I see it?
you can see it.
Is that metal?
It is.
Is that the right sound?
Great sound.
Why would someone opt to do a spray knockdown ceiling?
It gives you a little design, a little texture, but it's not as heavy as a stomp. This will hide imperfections, but it doesn't hide as much as what people think. Like some guys will try to tell you that you can get away with not sanding the ceiling, or you don't have to cut your edges down. You really do. If you have like defects in your ceiling.
Defects?
Huh?
Defects?
Yeah. Gouges or this thing. Sorry, I gotta concentrate because this.
It's good exercise.
Just what I need.
Need more exercise.
I need less carpal tunnel.
The body says, not this again. Okay, we're gonna take a pause. We'll pick up in a few.
Sorry I had to disappear. The ceiling was ready to be knocked down, and I had to get after it. But this is getting back into the wetter of the texture, and I'm finishing up the ceiling. This is what it looks knocked down. It's a delicate ceiling, you know. But I like the way it looks. So we'll go ahead, paint this, and it'll be done.
What kind of paint do you paint it with?
Ceiling paint.
But details.
Details. Truth be told, you can paint it with whatever you have. You can use a PVA primer. Since there's very little traffic on the ceiling, you just don't walk on it. You don't have to use a really high grade paint for your ceilings.
It's always flat though, right?
Unless you're real cocky and you want to show off all the imperfections in your ceiling.
So flat paint.
Flat paint. I have done high gloss ceilings before.
And did it show off all the imperfections?
Well, not my ceiling.
How cocky.
Right, exactly. You either have that cockiness or you use a flat paint. But I prefer the look of a flat on a ceiling. I had a client one time that just loved shiny ceilings.
Shiny ceiling,
that's
how
what she
odd.
got. But then you just go back through and make sure you don't miss any areas. Like here's a section that I missed.
How about right here? Is that already done?
That's actually good catch.
I'm good at finding the imperfections.
There you go.
That spot right there is thick. I like it much better than a stomp, that's for sure. Stomps are not my favorite. You can see better over here with the light, since it's lighter. The sun coming through the door window.
Well, a nice quality stomp and even textured stomp ceiling is a
Dated?
thing of beauty. It dates the house a little bit, sure. So does the swirl, but I think they're gorgeous ceilings.
Okay, what's the next step? You have to do the angles, right?
Yep, and
We had to stop
they're
so
gonna
you
be
can knock
nice
down.
and dry, so it won't be fun.
Yeah, because this is, what do you think is the size of this room?
The ceiling?
This section that, right here that you just did.
Oh, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 12 footers long. So you're looking, 60 feet by 30 feet. It's a
Decent size
ceiling.
ceiling.
It's bigger than what one man should do by himself. And one woman. Okay.
All right, we'll pause until the next phase.